The Alpha Omega Store is a family-owned and operated premier online store serving as your one-stop shop for all of your spiritual and self-development needs. At the Alpha Omega Store, we offer you hard-to-find spiritual and ritual supplies, books, DVDs, personal development services, monthly specials, international shipping, and more. From spiritual supplies to business products and services, our mission is to provide you with the tools that will put you on your road to success. Purchase your quality products and services today at alphaomegastore.com. Bring yourself to a place of spiritual and holistic balance with exclusive life design services at osirislife.com. At Osiris Life, we offer our members exclusive one-on-one instruction, including 3 monthly service level options to choose from, monthly spiritual consultations, monthly podcasts and videos, custom tailored development plans, spiritual work done on your behalf, life coaching and support, and working solutions with real results. Awaken to your personal greatness and purchase your membership package today at osirislife.com. And now, back to our segment.
Chief Yuya teaches classes on spiritual growth, personal development, and indigenous ancient spirituality. They're absolutely amazing, and they are offered online so you can access them from any location across the globe. The classes are also designed so that you can go at your own pace. So you can register at any time and enjoy the ongoing support of our online learning community. In case you missed the self-actualization tour, Chief Yuya has released his lecture DVDs from the tour. So definitely check them out for a powerful learning experience. You can buy the DVDs separately or in collection, which includes the Shrine and Altar DVD, that is the companion to the Shrine and Altar book, which offers you a visual guide and information for establishing your spiritual gateway. And of course, we always provide you with tools to empower yourself. So learn to do your own divination with our new OB divination set. You can buy the OB separately or in a kit with its companion. Grasping the root of divine power, where Chief Yuya will provide you with instructions on how to do your own divination using this ancient oracle.
Where do you start when everything seems to be falling apart?
Try to be sane in an insane asylum. How long you think you gonna manage? Your sanity ain't gonna manage long in an insane asylum. Everybody gotta be sane or you gonna go insane too.
Who's sending me this message? Am I not getting the message because I keep seeing it? And I'm trying to feel the energy because at one time I was fearful of it because I did see it.
I have a lot. My schedule is like really busy and kind of balancing that with spiritual life, and I guess you can call myself kind of a loner.
Sadulu House Spiritual Center would like to invite you to join our learning community by encouraging you to sign up for our monthly webinars. Our webinars offer live interactive instruction designed to help empower you in your spiritual evolution and ritual work. The webinars we provide are purposed to help you dive deeper into the concepts and calculations of the Chief Jegna of Anu Nation, Heru Yuya Asan Anu, through the decoding and exploration of sound, symbol, ancient and contemporary text, and various other tools used to invoke a state of highest awareness. We are able to abandon the constrictions of dead thought to travel to higher states of awareness, which is our rightful designation. To view our list of webinars, go to saduluhouse.com/events. Topics for 2016 include meditation, spiritual cleansing, astral projection, chakras, crystals, water magic, candle magic, the third eye, animal totems, dreams, and sex magic. Remember, go to saduluhouse.com/events to register.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another segment of Chief Speaks on High Frequency Radio, as well as Enlightenment and Transformation. Of course, many of you know me. I'm Chief Yuya. For those of you who do not know, and I want to welcome you again to another segment. Archives, those of you who are listening from YouTube right now, and those of you listening from Blog Talk Radio, and whenever you get here, as I always like to do, I just want to welcome you to this space. This segment, we're going to do something a little different, as you already probably know because you're looking at me, which is a rarity. Usually we have a slideshow going by, but I felt to bring in the Gregorian year, more importantly the financial year, and with some recent events that it was necessary to do something slightly different. And in particular, I'm speaking of the transitioning, very recent transitioning, as of today's show, of Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. Some of you may be familiar with her from her work, the ISIS papers, the Cress theory. She's someone who really introduced the idea of systems to us, and how each facet of culture, or each mechanism and machination of culture, exists within a system. And in order to dismantle or to combat a culture that is against you, you have to deal with the system first, as opposed to just dealing with the symptom or dealing with even a proponent of the system. You may deal with an agent like a police officer or a politician or a religious figure, and you may go head on at them and not realize that you're not actually addressing or dealing with the system, the full body of it. So one of her strongest, I would say, topics that she would speak on a lot, that ruffled a lot of feathers, was white supremacy racism, and how it plays itself out in pretty much every facet of our living and our doing. Well, some of you may know by now, of course, that she transitioned at the age of 80. And all I can say is I'm happy for her. I'm happy that she left such an amazing legacy. So much work had been put down by her, and she was not an elder who was just put out the pasture and was just like, did her work, and then, she was just on a farm growing onions and potatoes, and then we just found, she died on the farm. But in fact, she was soldiering up until the last moment. So, I'd say that's a beautiful legacy that she's left, and I'm happy that she's, going out like a champ, But it brings us to today's topic, and we'll be covering this topic all month. I told you in 2016 we'll be doing something a little different, and one of the things is we're going to be dealing with themes for the months, okay? And to this month's theme is success and progress. So everything we deal with is going to be addressing that. Now, of course, you guys know that there's always a method to my madness. There's a method to everything that I do. So the timing of the themes and the placement in terms of the months, it's all relevant, so definitely don't think it's just arbitrary topics that I've picked or anything like that. So we're starting our Gregorian year off with the idea of dealing with success and progress. And of course, we're going to start now with success. And the reason I bring up Dr. Welsing and her transitioning, because I think it's an important addendum to what I was going to speak about. If really, I don't even call it an addendum. It's an important focal point to what I was going to speak about today in terms of success. And, her transitioning is a mark and a sign of success. Okay, a lot of times when we think about success, especially as spiritual people, we're very goal centered. I'm going to learn this meditation, I'm going to learn yoga, and I'm going to learn this, learn that, so that way I can be this, so that way I can do this, right? So a lot of times that's the focus, and there's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes we don't realize that if we don't reach that particular mark, we consider that to be failure. And that's not failure as long as you're focusing in on what the projected aim is. So a lot of times when we start movements, for instance, we forget to put the objective before the movement. So sometimes we'll organize just for the sake of organizing. We'll march just for the sake of marching. We're not actually building movements, and building movements for the purpose of accomplishing a certain goal. So when you have that mentality, or you're devoid of that mentality, you end up really missing out on a lot of opportunities that you could use to get to the next level. So when you're goal oriented, you're going to have people transitioning along the way. You're going to have those who are going to fall off. You're going to have those who are going to come on. But if you see it as all a part of a progression towards the actual objective, you're in a good space. Because by pure definition, that's actually what success is. If you think about a monarchy, or you think about even a corporation, when someone's slated to get a job after another person, what do we call that? We say, well, this person is my successor, or they succeeded this individual in this job, right? So we understand that success is not necessarily the completion of the objective, but in fact, success is nothing but success is not the completion of the objective, but success is the movement towards the objective. Okay, even in your failures, quote unquote, you can still have success as long as you're on the path, as long as you're moving one step ahead to where you're trying to go, right? So let's say, for instance, you want to build a learning center, and along the way, let's say it's a 10-year journey, and you start a center, it fails, you can't get people interested, the building burns down, so forth, so on. And through each step of the way, though, you learn more about running a learning center, and you've taken on the mindset of that this is what no matter what I do, it's going to funnel into this particular aim and objective. This is the aim and objective of everything. So even if you never have the huge center, maybe you want a 200 child learning center, with a senior citizen center on the side. Even if you never get to that space, in fact, you have been successful, because you're succeeding your last step with another step that's bringing you closer. That's success. Okay? Success is not the destination. Success is the progression. So you always want to make sure you're succeeding your last identity. Just like you may have a VP that succeeds the president of a corporation. Okay, so at one point this individual was a VP, that was their identity. Okay, the president's no longer there, something happens, they step in. Now they're the president, they have a new identity, but still working towards the objectives, aims, philosophies, calculations of that particular organization. So it's no different when you're dealing with your personal life, or if you're dealing with your spiritual work, which is a lot of times that's the mistake that individuals make in spiritual work. They see themselves as being this great figure one day. Like, one day I'm going to be this great healer. One day I'm going to have this huge congregation. One day I'm going to levitate and go to all these different dimensions, right? And the challenge with that is that they don't, some may not realize that if you don't recognize and you're not grateful for your successes along the way, you'll actually never get to that place. And that place that you're trying to get to is nothing but a carrot over your head. It's a carrot that the soul holds in front of you. So, or like you used to see in the old cartoons, the Bugs Bunny cartoons, where you'd have the dogs racing around the track, and they'd have that little mechanical rabbit on the side, and they'd be chasing it. That's all it really is. I'll be this great healer, and I'll do this, and I'll do that, and I'll do that. Well, not too many people have actually done those things, if you really think about it. I mean, we have our documentaries, and we can see, okay, you've had this great healer, that great healer, that great healer. But one of the things that you find that with most great healers or most great people, they typically die tragic deaths. So those who are consistently focused on being this great image, and they put the the building up of themselves before their natural progression towards that carrot. They usually, when they expire, they may get some things accomplished, but when they expire, sometimes it's almost comical, the way some of them expire. Like, you had like the leader of the Source out in California. Some of you may be familiar with him. He died hang gliding. He said, yeah, I'm going to jump off he didn't know how to hang glide. He was like, the spirits are going to protect me and I'm going to hang glide. And he died, sometimes it's just crazy freak situations like that. But if you're focused on, okay, each step I take, each thing I do, I don't care. Let's say I want to be a great healer one day and I do a fast. Success. Why? Because doing that fast will make me more compassionate when I'm working with clients later and teaching them how to do a fast. So therefore now I'm achieving success in my goal because I'm doing things that are adding into that goal. You see? But when I'm doing things that that are taking away from that objective, now I'm a failure. Not because I didn't reach the destination, I'm a failure. I'm a failure because I'm extracting energy. I'm extracting momentum. I'm diverging from my purpose that I'm supposed to be on for that particular aim and objective. That's what makes it a failure. You see? So when I think about Dr. Wilson and I say, yeah, that was the success, because what she did was she created a map. And remember, she always attributed Neely Fuller, the elder Neely Fuller, for much of her thinking. Now, if you don't know who Neely Fuller is, you're missing a lot. I'm not gonna condemn you for not knowing who Neely Fuller is, but know who Neely Fuller is. Neely Fuller is just a giant. I mean, these are titans. You talk about Francis Cress Welsing, you talk about Neely Fuller. These are people who are like, these are deities. These are deities that are much larger than some of the deities that you're studying from old dead religions or old dead languages that no one even speaks anymore. These are deities that you can go touch and talk to and get their immediate and recent works. That's a big deal. You never want to really you don't really want to take that for granted. We'll say that. But yeah, she always attributed Neely Fuller. So in many ways, she was Neely Fuller's successor. She took what he handed down, the pillar that he created when he created that codex and compendium for white supremacy, racism, and how we need to conduct ourselves as melanin dominant people in the light of or in the darkness, however you want to look at it, of white supremacy, racism, in order to continue to have functional and prosperous lives. And she took that and she said, okay, well, let's hit it a little further and deal with the sociology and the psychology of it, And in her taking it from that space and adding on to that angle, that was a success to what he did. And then someone will come along behind her and take what she did. See, what that's really called is complementarity. See, a lot of times we think about complementarity in the form of like mating, which there is. You want to complement a partner who complements where you're at, what you're doing, and more importantly, where you want to be. Okay, you want a partner who complements that and also helps you to strive towards that space. Well, it's no different when you're doing this work. For instance, with the Anu Life Global Ministries, Anu Nation, what I try to aim to do when we're creating different experiences, different workshops and lectures, I'm trying to make sure that I'm not reinventing the wheel. That's very important to me, to make sure that the work that some of my elders have laid down, that if it's genius work and it's still relevant and it's not counterproductive to where we're trying to be and go today, I try to make sure that I can complement that work with whatever I'm doing. So that way, for one, it makes it easier. But so that way also you can add on to that with this. So now we create a more fleshier and fuller body of information, a fleshier and fuller body of work. So when you read Neely Fuller and then you read Francis Cresswell sing, or listen to either one of them in interviews, you get a really nice large picture. It's almost like listening to James Smalls and then listening to Dr. Leonard Jeffries. You get a nice picture, but if you take Dr. Leonard Jeffries, James Small, Dr. Clark, Dr. Ben, and I would throw in there some Dr. Ani, you got a nice meal there of information that really gives you a full picture. See, that's called complementarity, when all of these the deep people, and I'm not adding myself in the cipher of the newer or younger deep people, right? But let's just say if all the deep people could come together with an agenda, or really look at each other's agenda and says, okay, that's cool, I'm going to bounce off of that, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and everyone can kind of complement each other but move towards one objective, and just pick one goal, one objective. Then what you'll have there is success. That's success. Now, whether you reach that goal or not is not indicative of a successful movement, because it's a successful march. It just moves forward. That's success. So look at that in some areas of your life, right? Especially your spiritual work, because for the most part, that's what we're dealing with. We talk about social issues, we talk about educational issues, we talk about family issues, but ultimately the genesis of whether it be successful or whether it be a failure in any of those areas, the genesis is going to be how you march forward in it. And really the genesis is going to be the spirit world and your spiritual activity. So you think about your life purpose, right? And if you haven't thought about it because you don't know it, then you have a problem. Because if you don't know your life purpose, let me do this. I don't want you to think of I'm browbeating. If you don't know your life purpose, then you don't know the projected goal and aim at the end, or the goal at the end of the rainbow, right? Because what kind of goal is it, right? So what's the goal / GOAL goal at the end of the rainbow? Well, that's what you determine when you find out what your question from the Most High is. The Most High sent you down with a question. That was the goal at the end, right? The question could be, how do you take constructive criticism without going into an emotional fit, right? That could be the question. And you go through your entire life spazzing out, basically, whenever someone brings something to you to try to improve you, right? Well, each time you spaz out, if you know what your life purpose is, this is where it gets a little funny. Even when you spaz out, you're actually being successful, because you're having a successful movement and march towards understanding of the condition or understanding of that particular reaction, you see. So the idea again that I'm successful if you can say anything to me and I don't have a reaction, that's foolish. And some people get wrapped up into that, and you'll say things and whatever, say whatever you want, but it's not really genuine, But the person who says, no, I know eventually I have to figure this out, that's my goal, or that may be my purpose. So along the way, I'm going to have a lot of different experiences where my soulmates are going to come into my path, and they're going to invoke and trigger that feeling in me. And thank Ra for them, because that helps me to get to my goal. See, I tell you guys a lot of times, your soulmate is not the individual who brings you candy and flowers and balloons and teddy bears. That's not your soulmate. Most of the time, that's just the person who's trying to manipulate you. And I'm not saying, because I know we got a lot of foolish people who will say, so you saying that if someone brings me candy and flowers, they're manipulating me? No, you get what I'm saying. If you don't get what I'm saying, you're in the wrong place. All right. So what I'm saying is, the soulmate is the one who cuts the soul. How else will you know that we're soulmates if I can't feel that connection? Now, there's many ways to cut the soul open, right? But sadly, because of the world we live in, we're so numb to our spirits. A lot of us are really numb to our emotions, right? So a lot of times to get to that soul, the only way to cut it is with pain, because pain rips the soul open. And then you'll look inside of it. You'll start asking the critical questions that you weren't going to ask. You might have said, I was going to ask, but you weren't going to ask. So you start asking those critical questions that you would not have asked otherwise, had it not been for that introduction of that level of pain and suffering into your life, you see. And the person who usually brings that level of discomfort to you is your soulmate. Okay. Now, I know many of you thinking about your exes, that unruly child, your parents, especially for you conscious people, right? We know usually the parental situation is not too cool, because most people who come out as conscious messiahs for their family are not their parents' child as much as their siblings are. You see, some people come through and they may look like their parents, but they're not really with them. You know, they're not really connected in the same way that their siblings may be, and they have to have that disconnect in order to maintain respect. You see, for those of us who came to do a thing, a lot of times we have to have a measure of distance that can be uncomfortable at times, but you need that distance in order for people to respect you, because when you start getting too close and too familiar, people act up. Okay, so again, we have this idea, right, of success not necessarily being the fulfillment or accomplishment of the goal. And a lot of times when we use this example again of success being the destination of the goal, right, so, or putting the mechanisms of success before success, what does that look like, right? So we'll say this person's successful. And why do we consider them to be successful? Well, because they have a good job. We always start there. They have a good job. They got a nice car. They got a nice house. They're married. They got nice children. Whatever it is your terms are. And we're going to get into defining the terms of success. We're going to get into that next strong. Okay. Like I said, success and progress would be the theme for the month. And I'm going to give some more information on how to find the themes and what we're going to be doing from now on. I'm going to be giving you some cliff notes, some notes on each insight. So as you're listening, you can also follow along and get like the key points. So I think that will help a lot of you guys out a lot as well, to have maybe some of the key and star points that we're dealing with. So again, when we're putting the movement or the mechanisms before the objective, right? What happens is this: we forget that the nice car, the nice job, I forget all the things I listed, but you know, the wife or the husband and the children and the good reputation in the community, that all of those different things are actually intended in tools. They're intended tools to reach your goal. So we forget that part and we just focus on the tools. I'm successful, I got money. Well, what you gonna do with the money? What was the original goal? I forgot. But I got money. You know. So what happens is the tools that we're supposed to be using to get to where we're supposed to be going now become the definer and the evidence of our success, without realizing that they're evidence that we may be getting closer to the actual goal, but they're not the evidence of the achiever of said goal. Okay, so in some ways I can't say they are evidence of success, but they're not evidence of actual achievement or actual accomplishment, right? Because just like we may say, okay, I'm successful, I have my PhD, I'm successful. No, because what are you going to do with the PhD, right? That helps to determine if you're really successful. Now, of course, again, based on what we're saying, the achievement of the PhD is a marker of success, because I may be moving closer to the goal. But what if getting the PhD is actually moving me away from the goal? You see? Maybe that's not what I was supposed to do, but I'm using that as a marker of success. Maybe sometimes in the spiritual world, that PhD is what? Initiation. I get initiated, but maybe I wasn't supposed to get initiated. Maybe not now. Maybe not to this particular energy. Maybe not by this particular person. So I go through that series, but I'm moving myself further away from the actual objective. So in moving myself further away from the actual objective, then me getting initiated or me getting a PhD was a failure. It was a failure because it was a detour off of the actual path that I was supposed to be on. You see, and that's why defining what success means is important. Okay, and I've said over the years the definitions have changed, and that's why you need successors. So for Neely Fuller, or for James Small, I'll go through the list, or Dr. Leonard Jeffries, or Dr. Ben, or Dr. Clark, or Amos Wilson, or Dr. Welsing, or even Jewel Pookrum, and all these other great titans that the rest of us just kind of sit like that at their feet and wow, for all of those titan figures, right? Their definition and their idea of success differs from what our idea and definition of success is. Okay, but it doesn't mean that we're not still marching on the same path, because what's supposed to happen is this, right? These individuals are pillars of our community, right? They maintain a certain vibration. Just like every Sunday, you can tune in 11 a.m. Eastern. You can listen to me giving advice and guidance to different people, and from what I'm hearing, most people tell me answering the question that I was going to ask you. The person called in and asked just what I was thinking about. So obviously, that's a spiritual thing. It's just not. That happens too often for it to be haphazard. It's coincidence. What is coincidence? When angles coincide. It's purposeful, okay? Coincidence, we think is just accident. Boom. That's not coincidence. Coincidence is a purposeful coinciding of angles, right? So that's a spiritual orchestration. So me being consistent in that area creates a pillar now, right? Because the thought form goes out, and then even if it's just me speaking and then creating that moment, like the sister says in the intro, we call it going to church. They're calling it not because I do any preacher hype, because obviously I don't. If you've been listening long enough, I don't do the feel good and just the false emotion and stuff. I just don't do the hype, right? So it obviously isn't that. It's the consistency of it all, right? So that starts to create a pillar. And what happens is that even on the physical, a pillar begins to manifest slowly, because where's it's got to come from? It's got to come from soul to spirit to thought to emotion to body. Okay, so that's the way energy moves, right? Or high energy, right? Condenses down to low energy. High energy, right, or what we like to call spirit, or the spiral, comes down, slows up, gets harder, condenses down into physical matter. Okay, so that's the movement of it, but it's going from soul intention to spirit to thought to emotion to the electromagnetic body. Okay, or what we call the IA, the realm of IA in Europe. So anyway, so based on that, right, we know that there's a certain progression that we have to be sensitive to. Okay, and as long as we're following that, right, and we're sensitive to that, even in the building of that pillar, right? So like right now, doing these shows, we've created, obviously, it's spiritual. It all started with what? Foundational Friday, right? And January 17th, 2011. Foundational Fridays first started coming out, right? That was the spiritual thing. And I kept saying, we're going to start with spiritual, even Grasping the Root of Divine Power. And I have other books that I'm finishing up, but I wanted to start with the spirit because that's where things start. And if you notice, most of the conversation was about the soul. And then I went to the spirits. And how do we go to the spirit? Talking about all the different Orisha, the Netaru, the Luau, the Devi, right? We're dealing with the different spirits. Then you notice we started dealing with more thought. right? Solutions for dysfunctional family relationships. How are you perceiving your culture? How are you thinking? How are you mating? And these are all dealing with thought. Then we went to more emotion. If you listen to the shows, I mean, there's people always crying on the show and acting out and, just going crazy, because we're tapping those emotional centers, and we're rebalancing. We got those chakras spinning this way. Well, I guess this is counterclockwise. I don't know if it's clockwise on your screen, but and then we're turning them back the other way. And sometimes you got to use both hands, and they're rusted. Oh God! And then trying to get them to spin and start spinning on their own, and asking people, "Oh, it's hurting me so much, Chief. Oh, you so rough. You so yeah, because you're rusty. You got dirty because you haven't been using. So we got to get this rust off you. So we're turning that way, dealing with the emotional body, right? Then you have the Thunderground Thursdays where we're dealing with action. What are you building? What are you physically putting your hands on? So you see, there's always a method, right? But what happens is that now creates a pillar, okay? And it is now up to my successors to come when I fall, right? And I can't hold up that pillar anymore, for them to come and say, okay, I got you, Chief. No problem, I got you. And then take the pillar and say, well, Chief was this tall, but I'm a little taller because I'm standing on his shoulders. So now I can bring the pillar up even higher. And then with each step, that's success. We take the pillar, we take it up a level. We take it up a level. So when you look at Du Bois, you look at Carver, and you look at some of the genius ideas that they gave us, the genius ideas that Garvey gave us, even people like Father Divine gave us, some of those genius ideas of basic socialization, cultural responsibility, metaphysics, and then you look at some of the people who came after them and built and built and built and built, and then the pillar just gets higher and higher. It's like the Tower of Babel almost. And then we build our home back up in the heavens. You see, that's success. That's success. So I may not personally make it there. I hope. I'm gonna say I hope too, because you guys know I don't use the word hope, because hope is a product of anxiety. So if you know I'm saying hope, I know I'm probably not gonna make it there. But I hope I do. But the thing is, it doesn't matter, because my job may just be to tell the story, right? It may be just to lay another level down. Boom. Another level. Like, for instance, when I first started doing the segments, or forget even the segments, even some of the readings, I had a lot of people say, you can't do E5 readings over the phone. The person has to sit in front of you. Well, you ask anyone who's gotten a reading by me, and what they say, oh my God, he's so accurate. Boom, 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 boom. Well, it works. You see? Because you're stuck in the physical. Oh, you got to sit on the mat. I got to see you. You got to touch this. That's the physical. If your energy is strong enough, there's kinetic energy that you can send out to the individual. I'm touching auras without even seeing the person's face, right? Not because I'm so great, but because whoever came behind me left that little sliver of an idea, and I caught it. And I said, I wonder if you could. And then I did it. And oh, wow. So then now those who come after me, my youth, will, I don't know what the next level of technology will take us, but maybe it'll be a holograph, and they'll be in your living room, but it'll be a hologram, and they're casting the Opele and marking Odu right there. I don't know, But the thing is, they're taking the pillar and they're raising it and they're raising it and they're raising it, while at the same time respecting the primal roots, respecting the whole primitive aspect of it. Anyone who's ever been to my shrine, you know that I'm someone who really honors the primitive. Yeah, that's all I'll say about that. But you guys know what the primitive means to me. But at the same time, I'm a tech head. I love technology. So that's that building of that pillar. But that marks success, because I'm succeeding the last step, and the final step, I may make it there, but those who come behind me will make it, or I may make it there through my return. I may be a Tunde child, I may be a Babatunde, father returns. Heck, I may be a Yeye Tunde. I might come back as a girl and be like, and be the reincarnation of my mother or my grandmother. I don't really care. I would prefer not to come back. But I don't care what come back with. Boy, whatever I come back with is what I needed anyway, right? So, but that final step we speak about, that final step, that's just the achievement of the objective. But that's not necessarily success. We could say that's a successful achievement of the objective, but only because that was the last succession, you see? But everything in between there is success. If this is the last show, if I never do a Chief Speaks again, or I never do a radio show again, I've been successful. Because I took what I had, what I was given, and I did this. Maybe not even that much. Maybe this much. Success. And in my youth, who I've been training forever, and in my youth is smarter than I am. They're further ahead than I was at their age. They'll take it, and they may take it this further. Success, 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 success. Now, how far do we go? Who knows? Nobody knows. They'll tell you they know, but who knows? It doesn't really matter, to be honest with you. Just get on the train and enjoy the ride, and enjoy the little successes. Every time I do a show, I say that. All right, because again, I'm looking, because of Dr. Welsing, because of Dr. Neely Fuller, I see things as systems. So every time I do a show, I say, okay, I chip some paint off the armor of white supremacy racism. You see? And all I gotta do is keep chipping. Just keep chipping. I remember reading a story when I was a child about the strength of the animals. Long story short, I won't go through it, but there was a brick wall that was built, and they were trying to determine who was stronger, the brick wall or the wind or the mound or the rain, and they found out that none of them were stronger than the mouse, because the mouse had the ability to dig, because once they determined it's the wall, because he stops the wind, he stops the rain, but then they had this little field mouse that was just scratching a hole. You know how mice do when you get them, you look around your house, how did that mouse get in here? And you just go on the side of your foundation and just keep digging and keep digging and they get in. And then they finally, even your steel wool won't stop them for long, because once the steel wool rusts, as it always does, they just break that apart. I'm in here, and now you got Minnie and Mickey mating in the walls. So you start to understand that just being able to see things as a system helps you to successfully move towards your objectives and goals. And that is your defining point of success, not the actual achievement. Okay? So I'm going to get deeper into this, our next segment, our next Chief Speaks. But like I said, I wanted to do something a little different, and especially in honor of Dr. Welsing. And if you guys are not familiar with Dr. Welsing, you should get familiar with Dr. Welsing. As these greats go, it doesn't mean that we have to live in the past. It doesn't mean that we have to recreate their work, because the work has been done. She did what she was supposed to do. She gave us the information, right? And she lectured and lectured and taught and taught and taught. And she was a psychologist. She was actually was an MD. A lot of people thought she was a PhD, but she was actually an MD. And her field was psychology. And she gave it to us. Now we take that and we build on it. We don't just take it and say, yeah, I've been studying this, I've been studying that, and she says this, and she says that, and she says that. That's cool. That's cool to honor it. What do you say? How do you process and synthesize that information and then build something on top of it? Because if you don't move forward, and let's say if we have the same goal, because I know I have the same goal as Dr. Welsing, I have the same goal as Dr. Fuller, so how am I helping the entire system of the collective consciousness of those who are aware move forward? And if you know you did your part, you're a success. I'm telling you, you're a success. Whether you have money, don't have money, and that's how you really need to look at the scale. A lot of times we say, I'm poor, unsuccessful, rich, successful. No, you need to look at it like this. Split it in half. Poor, rich, and then put unsuccessful over here. Successful over here. So I can be poor and successful, I can be rich and successful, because that's really how it goes, you know. But as long as you're inching towards that goal, I'm telling you, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel it in your system. That's why one of the phrases we say sometimes, one day at a time, or you say and they say it in Twi and in Yoruba, boko, right? In Twi sometimes, I mean, I'm Yoruba, they'll say like boko boko, and in Twi they say boko. Boko means like if somebody says like, hey, how you doing? Etisin is like, how you doing? And you might say mehoye, like I'm fine, or you may say boko. Boko means softly or like gently, like basically I'm taking it easy, right? But it also, when you break it down, it's like step by step. So in the Yoruba you have a similar phrase like boko boko, and it means like or sometimes you hear like poko poko, but it just means like step by step, one by one, you know. And that comes up in Odu sometimes. Sometimes you got to tell people like, hey, pull back a little bit. Pull back a little bit. Take it step by step. You're rushing in too much. Okay? You're rushing in too much. I'll tell you that was something that used to come up for me a lot in my younger years. Because I'm rushing in head. I'm samurai. I'm rushing in head first to my goal. Come on, let's go. And you're missing things along the way. And the truth is, and sometimes the diviner won't tell you this, you're not the one who's going to make it to the promised land. So slow down. Get the wisdom of each step as you go, because you're going to need that wisdom to give it to the person who is going to make it to the promised land. You see? But that has been our Chief Speaks. I want to thank you all for tuning in. That has been our insight for Chief Speaks. Let me put it that way. And I want to thank you for tuning in. I want to thank all of you who join us consistently and consider this to be your church or your temple service, or this your consistent moment to get some alternative information. All right. I am Chief Yuya, and from the entire Anu family, I want to wish you power, prosperity, longevity, good health. Good health. Because you ain't got good health, none of the other stuff really matters, right? But good health, a stable home, good fortune in your life, avoidance from court cases, success in your court cases if you have no choice, avoidance from car accidents, or just avoidance from any type of accidents. I wish you just total success on this day, because today can be a successful one. And how's that? Just move a little closer to your goal. One thing. If you want to be more spiritual and you find that you've fallen off in your spiritual practices, here's a simple thing. Go over to your shrine, take some lemons, squeeze it in some water, or you could take some pine oil, clean off your shrine. That's it. Just clean it off. Clean it off with some lemon juice, or clean it off with some onion juice or some onion water. You could boil it up as a tea. Onion is real good for cleaning shrines and for clearing out of space. You can mix some garlic with that if you want, but onion is fine by itself. Pine oil is excellent to use. You know, just go clean it off. That you're successful. You're moving one step closer. And then maybe after next strong show, after you now cleaned it off, you may take some olive oil or some palm oil, and you may anoint all of your candles. Right? Remember, always go in one direction. Don't do this. When you're cleaning a spiritual object, always either go clockwise or go counterclockwise as you're cleaning, right? Counterclockwise removes, clockwise adds. Okay? But little step, little by little step. You don't have to go on like, oh man, I do this big huge ritual or that. You don't have to do that. Pacing and planning is the key to success. All right. Hotepu.
To provide you with the tools that will put you on your road to success. Purchase your quality products and services today at alphaomegastore.com. Bring yourself to a place of spiritual and holistic balance with exclusive life design services at osirislife.com. At Osiris Life, we offer our members exclusive one-on-one instruction, including 3 monthly service level options to choose from, monthly spiritual consultations, monthly podcasts and videos, custom tailored development plans, spiritual work done on your behalf, life coaching and support, and working solutions with real results. Awaken to your personal greatness and purchase your membership package today at osirislife.com. And now, back to our segment.
Chief Yuya teaches classes on spiritual growth, personal development, and indigenous ancient spirituality. They're absolutely amazing, and they are offered online so you can access them from any location across the globe. The classes are also designed so that you can go at your own pace. So, you can register at any time and enjoy the ongoing support of our online learning community. In case you missed the Self-Actualization Tour, Chief Yuya has released his lecture DVDs from the tour. So definitely check them out for a powerful learning experience. You can buy the DVDs separately or in collection, which includes the Shrine and Altar DVD, that is the companion to the Shrine and Altar book, which offers you a visual guide and information for establishing your spiritual gateway. And of course, we always provide you with tools to empower yourself. So learn to do your own divination with our new OB divination set. You can buy the OB separately or in a kit with its companion. Grasping the root of divine power, where Chief Yuya will provide you with instructions on how to do your own divination using this ancient oracle.
Where do you start when everything seems to be falling apart?
Try to be sane in an insane asylum. How long you think you gonna manage? Your sanity ain't gonna manage long in an insane asylum. Everybody gotta be sane or you gonna go insane too.
Who's sending me this message? Am I not getting the message because I keep seeing it? And I'm trying to feel the energy because at one time I was fearful of it because I did see it.
I have a lot. My schedule is like really busy and kind of balancing that with spiritual life, and I guess you can call myself kind of a loner.
Sadulu House Spiritual Center would like to invite you to join our learning community for our monthly webinars. Our webinars offer live interactive instruction designed to help empower you in your spiritual evolution and ritual work. The webinars we provide are purposed to help you dive deeper into the concepts and calculations of the chief Jegna of Anu Nation, Haru Yuya Asan Anu. Through the decoding and exploration of sound, symbol, ancient and contemporary text, and various other tools used to invoke a state of highest awareness, we are able to abandon the constrictions of dead thought to travel to higher states of awareness, which is our rightful designation. To view our list of webinars, go to saduluhouse.com/events. Topics for 2016 include meditation, spiritual cleansing, astral projection, chakras, crystals, water magic, candle magic, the third eye, animal totems, dreams, and sex magic. Remember, go to saduluhouse.com/events to register.